I get it. You're working a 9 to 5, depending on the industry, sometimes it's more than that. And it's really hard to find the time to trade in the working week in those hours, especially because London and New York are the two best sessions, in my opinion, because of the volume and the amount they move. So working and trading around that can be something that's really hard to do. And I had the exact same issue. I used to work in a lot of restaurants and stuff, and I was doing sort of 12-14 hour shifts, and it was really hard to be able to trade and, you know, fit my job around at the same time, which is annoying because obviously a lot of you are probably wanting to trade to not work those kind of jobs and be able to trade or do something else that you enjoy. So in today's video, I'm just going to give you a few tips of what I did whilst working those kind of jobs and what helped me when trading around my job, which in this case was a restaurant, but obviously it'll work for pretty much any industry. So tip number 1, limits are your best friend. So on MT4, I'm sure all of you know this, you can set limits, whether that be a sell or a buy limit. And literally all that means is you just set the limit in an area that you want to sell or buy from, and then when price comes back to that area, it will tag you in, put you into the trade, and you don't have to do anything yourself. You can already have set your SL and your TP, so it literally does it all for you on its own, and you don't have to do anything. So when I was working, this was something that really helped me. I would set my limit before a shift, so I'd go and look at the markets, set my limit, and then I'd set an alert on TradingView, which basically would, if that area was tagged, i.e. I got tagged into the trade, then I would know. And this is basically what I did. So I'd be at work, I'd get the alert from TradingView, and it'd be like, oh, you know, you've been entered, or, you know, whatever. And I don't have to manually execute the trade myself because I've already set the limit, which basically means that I'm already in the trade and I don't have to do anything while I'm at work. And then of course, you know, I did this, I'm sure a lot of you did this. You then go to the toilet at random points throughout your shift, you check on your trade, you see how it's doing, and yeah, you can just, you know, keep up to date with it. And it, you know, that's how I did it anyway. And to be honest, you can look at sort of your job in this case as actually a good thing, because a lot of the time when you're trading and you're not working and you're just able to sort of look at the charts whenever you want, it really makes it difficult to hold to TP or, you know, manage your trade correctly if you're in SL or something, because you're constantly looking at the charts and you're not letting the trade play out. Whereas at a job, you can't afford to be looking at the charts all the time. So you actually have to let the trade play out, which, you know, helps me because that was something I used to struggle with, looking at the charts too much. So yeah, in that case, your job can actually be a beneficial factor when trading. Tip number 2 that I have, or what worked for me, was doing my analysis the night before. So when I used to work at a restaurant, I would finish my shift around 2 a.m, something like that, 2 a.m. And then I'd walk back home, I'd open up the charts, and I'd basically just analyze what I think is going to happen the next day. So like London session, which is the session I personally trade. And I would, you know, go on the charts, I'd look at the charts, and I'd basically sort of analyze. This should be fairly quick to do because you should, you know, in your plan have a set criteria of what you're actually looking for when, you know, doing your analysis before the session or before you want to get into a trade. So I'd get back, I'd be like, oh, have I got this? Have I got this? Have I got this? Do I think I'm going to have this in London? Is it going to play out? Is it going to go to this area? You know what I mean? And I basically just do that before work, and then that way the next morning I could just set my limit, or even the night before, because I know where I think price is going to go, and that's it. I don't have to do any analysis in the morning because I've already done it the night before. Obviously this is, you know, still a lot harder than just trading full time, or, you know, trading in a job that means you have more freedom, but it, you know, it's the best way, in my opinion, to get around the issues that you may face when, you know, working a 9 to 5 or longer hours than that, depending obviously, as I said, on the industry. So my tip number 3, which is kind of to do with it, is backtesting. Obviously backtesting is so important in trading. It's, you know, one of the most important things that, you know, you could do as a trader, because you're just practicing your strategy. You're finding out, you know, different things and really getting to grips with the whole strategy. So obviously when you're working a 9 to 5 or, you know, more hours than that, it's really hard to find the time to backtest. Now, of course, you could do the classic, the grind mode mindset of you're going to go back home, after I finish my shift, and I'm going to bang out backtesting for 2 hours straight, and I'm not going to stop. But realistically, for most of you, and for me as well, the last thing I wanted to do when I came back from a shift at work was to sit down and, analyze the charts for another 2 hours until my eyes literally bleed. It just makes you so tired. It's not worth it. Obviously you can do that if you want, but me personally, I'm not gonna lie, after a shift I just want to sleep or relax. There is no way that I want to be doing any sort of back testing at that sort of point, and especially a lot of jobs nowadays require looking at screens. So if you've been looking at screens for sort of 8-9 hours a day, and then you come back and you look at screens for another 2 hours, it is so boring, and just, to be honest, it's not ideal for your health. And realistically, for me as well, like, I'd be walking around at restaurants, serving people, being all happy for sort of 12 hours straight on my feet. I just did not want to backtest, when I get back. And, it can be seen as, a lazy attitude, but personally, I think the grind set, as they call it, is sometimes very extreme, and you do have to take breaks, especially if you've been working all day. So it is important to do that as well. But what helped me was backtesting at the weekend. So I'd wake up early on Saturday and I'd wake up early on Sunday, and I would literally for 2 hours just backtest both days and do all of my backtesting then. And it made it so much easier because I felt, refreshed. I'd just woken up, it was the weekend, spending my time doing that was a lot more pleasing to me. And to be fair, a lot more productive because I was awake, I was, focused. Whereas obviously if you're backtesting after an 8-hour shift, you're going to be way less focused, and you're really just not going to want to put the quality time into it that it does need. So backtesting at the weekends was something that really helped me without sort of losing my my sanity, which, can happen in trading. It's something that, especially when you're learning, can really be difficult to sort of get your head around and to really understand. I hope some of these tips have helped you, or at least helped you understand what I did when I was trying to trade and backtest around a job, and hopefully it makes it a bit easier for you. If you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you in my next video.